Hey everybody, it's me, Peter. Welcome to Above the Line. I'm joined today by Anthopants, and we're talking about Solo, a Star Wars story today. We saw it.
Yes.
Saw it opening night, or, well...
Opening night-ish.
Opening night-ish. I was surprised, before we get into it, I was surprised that the theater was not...
Full?
Full. It wasn't sold out.
Yeah, I didn't look behind us. Maybe you did, but we were in the second row, and the entire front row was completely empty.
Yeah.
So in case you guys don't know, Solo is about Han Solo.
Han Solo.
From Star Wars.
Yeah. And I guess we'll start out with success or failure.
Okay. I thought it was a success.
Okay.
Where do you stand?
I'm kind of on the fence here. I was expecting something awful.
Yes.
And it wasn't awful.
Yes.
And that's kind of all I have to say about it. I mean, I didn't think it was spectacular by any means.
Yes.
I didn't,
It's like, the question is this. If someone comes up to me and they're like, oh, the Solo movie, should I watch it?
Yeah.
What I would say to them is, you don't have to.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. You don't have to watch it. Unfortunately, that's the way I think every Star Wars movie has been that they've made so far. Like The Force Awakens, you don't have to watch it. You just don't have to.
Yeah.
Then Rogue One, you don't have to watch. I like The Force Awakens better than Rogue One. Then The Last Jedi, don't watch. That's my suggestion. Don't watch it. Then this one you don't have to watch. But I actually think I like this one the best so far out of all the Star Wars movies that they've made. I like this one the best.
Like
the
the
story was the most solid. I think the directing was the most solid. I think it had some of the worst CG I've seen in a Star Wars movie. Other than The Last Jedi, of course.
Yeah.
But
I didn't feel like it did the character justice, but I didn't feel like it ruined the character either.
Right.
It was just kind of there.
Can we just get into spoilers?
Yeah,
Because I feel like it's impossible to talk about this thing without the spoilers. But I went into this movie with the lowest expectations I've had since going into Revenge of the Sith. I think my expectations for Revenge of the Sith were about as low as my expectations were going into this film. I did not like Revenge of the Sith. That movie is terrible. Anyone who says differently is completely incorrect. Anyway.
I'm not saying differently.
Okay. This movie... I don't know what to say about it. If you're looking for a Han Solo movie, you're not going to find it in this movie. This was not Han Solo. This was Han Solo after the hindsight of the original trilogy. Of who Han Solo becomes by the end of the original trilogy, and not who he actually is at the beginning of the trilogy of A New Hope, when Luke and Obi-Wan first meet Han Solo. He is not this person.
Yeah, I would say that they were trying to write a story of how did he become this person.
Yes.
Rather than writing the character that already existed. And I feel like I kind of would have preferred if they had just written the character that already existed. Mm-hmm. I didn't like that he had a love interest. I kind of would have preferred it if he were more like a ladies' man and kind of like, a scoundrel.
Agreed.
And like, I don't know. I liked what she said about like, I know who you are, like you're the good guy. Mm-hmm. Because that was true. That was him.
Yes.
But it didn't hold up with the rest of the film because he was the good guy the whole film. Like, he hasn't really gotten into the whole being a scoundrel thing yet. Like,
yes, he has
noble intent the entire film.
She's telling the audience what the audience already knows.
Yeah.
Rather than he's a scoundrel, he's a scavenger, he's trying to survive, he's a ladies' man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He stabs everybody in the back, but then she's like, you're actually the good guy.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing through his actions, he is the good guy. That wasn't happening. He's just the good guy the entire time. He never have this feeling of he's going to stab anybody in the back. He's going to do anything wrong at all.
Yeah.
He only stabs... the only thing he was doing bad throughout the entire movie was to people that you already don't like because you know they're terrible, bad people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the dice and how stupid the dice is.
Yeah.
So in the Last Jedi, otherwise known as the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, that was the working title was.
Luke gives Leia Han Solo's dice, which we've never seen before.
Right.
Luke's like apparition, the make-believe Luke that killed Luke because he concentrated too hard. Remember when that happened to you? You thought too hard and you died? That has a huge role in this movie. And it makes the dice make even less sense. Because he gives the dice to this new love interest, who is not Leia.
Right.
And then now he still hangs on to the dice. It's like you get married, right? And you're a dude. You give your wife like the engagement ring, and then you get divorced or she dies, and you take her engagement ring and give it to your new wife.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah, that is stupid.
I was like, this makes even less sense now that he has this and he's giving it to this lady, and now he's going to give it to his new lady. What kind of a jerk is this?
What a scoundrel.
Yeah, like remember when you gave your girlfriend flowers, and then you broke up, so you took those flowers back and gave them to your new girlfriend, the same flowers? The same flowers. Remember that?
Let's talk about how he got his name.
It was stupid.
It was stupid. All right. Almost immediately, he says, like, his name's Han. Yeah. And the guy asks what his name is. He's like, well, who's your people? I don't have any people. And I was like, this stupid officer guy who, like, I've never seen before is going to give him his name. And he's going to say it like, oh, I just came up with a name. And that's exactly what
they had that, like... It's
Solo!
Well, it's poor writing at its best when you do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Rather than going like, he goes up to this guy and he's like, I don't have a last name. And he's like, oh, okay, Solo is what we call the orphans or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like a generic name, like, oh, then you're a Smith. Yeah. Sorry to all of you who are a Smith and that's like your parents' given name. Because that's also what they give like aliases to people who, don't belong anywhere. But yeah, that would have been better. Like, this guy's a nobody, rather than, let me ponder it for a half second.
Yeah, that would have been funny, actually.
Or give him a different name.
Yeah, if he gave him, like, Smith.
So, Han, like,
Smith.
Han Bilbo. Bilbo? No, and then he comes up with his name on his own, or Lando gives him a name, because Lando's like, Han Bilbo, that's the dumbest name I've ever heard.
Yeah, Lando should have given it his name.
Lando should have been like, you should be like a Han Solo, man.
Yeah,
and it's like,
he's got class, he has style, he would be able to come up with a name for him. He's going around calling himself, like, Han Doe, like John Doe. I'm Hondo. Doesn't work.
I want to talk about the guy who played Han Solo.
Okay.
And how bad I thought he was going to be, because I heard all these stories. It's so funny. They hyped this movie down, as in this is going to be the worst acting performance you've ever seen. The guy was not bad.
Yeah.
He wasn't as bad as I thought he was going to be. That's what I should say.
He wasn't Han Solo, but he wasn't bad. He played this character very well.
Yes, but that's not... I don't think it's his... The fact that he wasn't Han Solo is not his fault. That's a writing problem.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Gosh, man. Okay, there's like an opening, not crawl, but like little, like, like this is a hard time.
I hated that.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Yeah.
Han tries to survive in a crooked city, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like where they have the little text over a black screen, and you hear him breathing, and immediately I was like, okay, this is going to be a subpar performance. Hearing him breathe before you see him, I was like, okay, this is what I can expect.
Yeah.
And my expectations were so low, I was like, this is so low. I was like, this is not going to be good. But his breathing is actually better than I thought it was going to be. Which sounds weird to actually think that. But I was like, okay, he's breathing. I can tell he's acting. I'm just going to know he's acting the whole movie. But it's not as bad of acting as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Does that make sense? His acting wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So therefore, I thought it was good.
Yeah. No, my expectations being as low as they were.
Yeah.
So low. I think did make this movie a lot better for me. And it made his acting better for me, too. I'll say this. Throughout the movie, I was looking for reasons not to like his performance. Because I was like, this isn't Han Solo, and I could tell it wasn't Han Solo. I could feel it.
Yes.
Like, this isn't Harrison Ford. This isn't, the character. And so I was trying to find reasons, tangible reasons for why, examples for why I didn't like this guy's performance. And I couldn't really find any. And so I feel like, yeah, you're right. It was a writing thing. It was written poorly.
Yes.
And it wasn't really anything that he did.
No.
That made the performance bad. And so, I do like his performance.
It's not a poorly written...
film.
Yeah, film. The characters are not poorly written. Nothing about it, other than maybe two things about it that I think were actually, like, poorly handled.
Yeah.
It just wasn't Han Solo's character.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, do I want this to be... This guy is supposed to be Harrison Ford, or do I want it to just be its own movie? If it was its own thing, you wouldn't even have expectations for it, and it would just be a Star Wars film about this guy.
Yeah.
And maybe that would have been better than just have somebody like Lando in it and that kind of thing. What did you think of the guy who played Lando?
I really liked it.
He did. Okay, when I found out Lando was going to be in this film and it wasn't played by Billy D. Williams,
I was like, his role.
I was ridiculously mad about it.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be terrible. Who could play Billy D. Williams like Billy D. Williams?
Donald Glover could.
Donald Glover did the best job anyone could have ever done other than Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
He wasn't as good as Billy D.
Okay.
I don't think he was as good. I think Billy D. Williams is more gregarious. Honestly.
Straight from his IMDb page.
I think Billy D. Williams is like, he's got that like Omar Sharif class.
It's just his charm is like spilling out of him.
Yes. It's charisma. He's got a charisma of like Skyrim 100. You know what I mean? But it's like you can't recapture that. So then you got to get the next best thing. I think this was literally the next best thing.
Yeah. No, I thought he did great. I liked every scene with Lando in it.
Yes.
And he's in a good portion of the movie. And like I love the scene where he runs to L3. Is L3 the name?
Yeah.
I really liked that scene. It looked awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
It was well done.
Yes.
But I don't know. That could have just been Donald Glover. Just him, having a realistic performance.
Well, I would say that this was the best directed Star Wars film of the new Star Wars films.
It was Ron Howard.
Better than The Force Awakens. I would put it above that in the directing.
Yeah.
I thought Rogue One wasn't done very well. It was like good, and then The Last Jedi was the worst directing I've ever seen in my life. Let's talk about Han meeting Chewbacca.
Okay. I really liked it.
Yes. Yeah, Han meeting Chewbacca was really good. They did a good job in this film of making you feel like okay, this comes before the original trilogy. Han and Chewbacca are going to become friends and survive. But it does a good job of, you don't know how they're going to become friends. You still get this feeling of Chewbacca comes out, he's like chained up, he hasn't eaten in like 3 days.
Yeah.
He's going to eat Han Solo, and then they end up working together. Han finds a way of like speaking Wookiee, he knows a little bit of it, and they start working together and they get out of it. And you're literally like, I think Chewbacca's going to eat Han Solo.
Yeah.
You still get that feeling, even though you know that's not going to happen. But you don't know how they're going to get out of it. So they did a good job of constantly doing that. You don't know how Han is going to... Han's going to win the Millennium Falcon from Lando.
Right.
But you don't know how he's going to do it.
Right. Yeah. I like that he didn't cheat to win either.
Yeah.
Because he says it in Empire, hey, I won it fair and square.
Yeah.
And, makes a point to say that. So I kind of like that they did that. But yeah, no, I really liked the meeting of Chewbacca. I was expecting it to just not do any justice. I was like, there's no way that they're going to have him, meet Chewbacca and it's going to be good. But it wasn't bad. You know, I actually really enjoyed the scene. I enjoyed their little relationship. What they did do, though, and you talk about this a lot, is they ruined a lot of jokes by adding a little bit more than what needed to be there.
Yeah.
When they get out of the prison and they're taking a shower, and Chewbacca, like, walks into the shower with them.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. And
then he says, like, you know, we could have done this, like, one at a time. And it wasn't as funny.
Yeah.
And they did that multiple times.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's just it. Like, if you already get the joke,
yeah,
you're going to laugh.
Yeah.
If you don't get the joke, you're not going to laugh no matter whether someone explains it or not. So there's no point in explaining the joke. Stop explaining the jokes. Like, what are they... I get that, like, now we're in an international market, and maybe they need to explain the jokes to, I don't know, the Martians on Mars, because they don't get, like, human, you know, jokes.
Right.
But it's like, stop doing it. If you don't get British humor, don't watch British television shows. Let's talk about Emilia Clarke.
Emilia Clarke, yeah.
She was the worst part of the movie. And she wasn't bad. She was better in this than she's been in anything.
Yeah, that I would agree with.
But she's, her acting is so terrible that she makes everybody else, she, like, heightens the acting of everyone else around her.
Yeah,
Except for Jai Courtney. She still makes him look like an amateur.
Yeah, I really like her in Game of Thrones. And I haven't seen her in anything else that I've actually enjoyed her acting in.
Yes.
And I would agree that this is maybe the best performance I've seen from her.
And I'll tell you why. I figured out why she's good in Game of Thrones and why she's good in this. She keeps her real accent.
Oh, yeah.
When she plays an American, she doesn't do a good job. None of them do. Other than Daniel Day-Lewis. And Tom Hardy.
Okay, yeah, but Christian Bale does a good
Christian
American
Bale,
accent.
Gary Oldman. Literally, I can count them on my hand. How many people that are born like across the pond?
I'd throw Benedict Cumberbatch in there too.
No, he's terrible. He's a terrible American. He doesn't look American.
How dare you?
You look at him and you're like, that guy's British.
He doesn't look American. I like it. I think he does a good accent though.
But Emilia Clarke, she looks like she could be from anywhere. She doesn't have that look, but she doesn't have. Her accent's terrible when she does anything other than her normal accent. Yeah. If she does her normal accent, she's good.
Yeah, she does her normal accent in this movie.
Even the worst actors, like Jai Courtney, do your normal accent and you're fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was the worst part of the movie.
Yeah, Star Wars got really British. Like,
it's always been British.
Has it always been British?
The whole Empire was like think about every person Vader used to talk to. Even Vader used to be Scottish before James Earl Jones took over the voice.
Yeah. As it turns out, the Scottish just didn't work for Vader. No. The Scottish accent. Yeah, I guess you're right. I didn't think about like all the Empire
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan's British.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess you're right. Mm-hmm. I was thinking like the main core characters in the original trilogy were Americans, and then like
Leia had like a quasi, like in the original, a quasi weird kind of accent. If you like pay attention to what she says, you know, she's like Grand Moff talking. She kind of talks like that, you know. I noticed your foul stench. Like she has a weird, like kind of old English type speech.
That's just how Carrie Fisher talks, isn't it?
Yeah, but she doesn't talk like that in Empire or in. She talks a little bit differently in A New Hope. It's not way different, but I feel like it's a little bit different.
It's like royalty?
Yes.
Like, this is how royalty
like when you
would talk?
first meet her, she talks like, like that old-timey talk. Yeah, I don't know. There was some jokes. I think that most of the jokes actually hit very good. This is the first Star Wars movie that Disney's had where I think the jokes actually work.
Okay.
Some of the jokes didn't work, and I couldn't tell if they were trolling themselves or if they were trolling the audience or if they were being serious. Like L3 the robot, like Lando's like, what do you want? And L3, who's I guess a female robot, was like equality, you know, and like the audience was like one guy in the audience was like, huh, like did that, you know? And I was like, are they doing it like seriously? Are they doing it as a joke?
Yeah.
Like we're supposed to laugh at it? Or are they literally trolling us because they know we're expecting this kind of like kind of weird type stuff to come up in a Star Wars film?
Yeah. And they're having it come from a droid?
Yes.
Yeah. No, okay. I get what you're saying.
Right.
Like you couldn't tell if they were like trying to make a joke or if they were making fun of themselves almost.
Yes.
Like oh, we're throwing in these
like
kinds of jokes in there.
Is it self-aware humor?
Yeah.
Is it humor?
I get what you're
self-aware humor, or are they being serious?
Right.
And the audience
couldn't tell.
Could not tell, nor could I.
Yeah.
And I was laughing at some of it, and some of it I was cringing at, and some of it I was like, that's interesting that they said that. Like, it hit on all 3 points for me, where I was like, that's funny, that's self-aware, and that's cringy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are they doing? Were they doing all 3?
Yeah.
Like, you know how you felt like you got trolled in The Last Jedi throughout the entire film? Like, you completely got trolled? That's what they did in this one, but just with the L3 robot. So it was a contained thing.
Yeah.
Like, where only Deadpool is self-aware, but nobody else is.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it makes sense. I didn't get what direction you're going in when you started, but yeah, I get what you're saying. And yeah, the audience did kind of seem confused, like about whether or not they should laugh or whether or not they could laugh at some of those jokes.
Like, do I laugh? Do I agree with it? Do I applaud? Do I?
Yeah.
Like, literally, the audience, you could hear people kind of like, some people laughing, some people uncomfortably laughing, some people cringing.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? This is weird. It was weird.
She says that, and then, like, Donald Glover rolls his eyes.
Yes.
And so it's like, oh, this one's a joke.
Yes.
But you don't, like, you're almost afraid to say whether or not it's a joke until you see...
Yeah,
until you see Donald Glover roll his eyes.
It was interesting.
Like, what are they, like, doing here? Are they trying to make a point? Or are they making a joke?
I felt like the writer's probably going to the theater as a social experiment to see people's reaction, and he's like, yes! I got all 3 reactions on the same joke.
Yeah.
This weird circle of, like, a complete full spectrum of emotion.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
And I was like, if it was intentional, it's some of the most brilliant writing ever. If it wasn't intentional, it's some of the worst writing ever. It really is on the full spectrum of, like, I cannot tell what the heck was going on with that robot and what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Well, her delivery was very slapstick. It was very like, this is almost vaudeville. Like, we're making fun of it.
What's her face? From Game of Thrones, the very tall one?
Oh,
Brienne
I don't
of Tarth?
know. It sounded a lot like her.
It sounded a lot like Brienne of Tarth from
Game
of Thrones.
It sounded like her to
Which
me.
I really like her. And I wanted her in The Last Jedi more.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted, like, her helmet off.
Yeah.
Like, to come off and, like, her to just start kicking butt.
Yeah.
And it never... Never mind. We're not talking about The Last Jedi.
No.
We'll
never stop talking.
What a dumpster fire.
Okay, there's one thing that I feel like fizzled out.
Okay.
Almost immediately. The reveal of Darth Maul.
Yes.
It was like, oh, who's she talking to? And he, like, took his hood off, and it was Darth Maul, and I was like, wah, wah. Like, I didn't care at all. The audience didn't react at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Some people kind of, there was, like, a reaction. I thought it was kind of cool. I didn't know it was going to be Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it. Some people were kind of like, oh, yeah, I knew this. I could kind of hear that, you know?
Yeah.
And I hate when people do that because it's like, no one could have saw this coming, which means you, like, you didn't figure it out.
There's, like, TV shows.
Yeah, like, you've seen something and, like, you put a puzzle piece in and it's the last puzzle piece.
Yeah.
You know? Quit acting like just so brilliant.
I didn't care for his inclusion, though. I felt like it was... I don't like when a movie feels like it's setting up for more movies.
Yeah.
And this movie did feel like that in a lot of instances. And having Darth Maul in there for like 2 seconds felt like that.
I didn't mind that Darth Maul was in it. What I minded was So he takes off his thing, and you're like, Darth Maul, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, let me prove that I'm Darth Maul. And he force grabs his lightsaber.
Yeah.
He's like, and you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. It's Darth Maul.
Yeah.
And then he turns it on.
Yeah.
And you're like, I get it. I get it. It's Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen the movies.
Yeah.
Nobody needed you to prove it 3 times. Like, you proved it with the thing coming off so we can see him. Okay, now we see him. Then he force grabs it. Okay, good enough, dude. Yeah. Leave it there. And then, so it's like, there's a certain degree where, like, as a movie watcher, when you feel like someone's treating you like you're a complete moron,
right? It's
insulting. Stop doing it. Can we just stop doing that, please?
Yeah, I didn't care for it right from the start, and I just felt like it was getting more and more ridiculous. He turns his lightsaber on to make a point, to scare the hologram Emilia Clarke, and then turns it off. Well, all right, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's like when, like the toughest guy in the 80s gang, like, puts his switchblade out, and then, like, puts it back in.
Just to show it to you.
What?
Just to show it to you.
What is that?
It's like if the Terminator, like Arnold Schwarzenegger comes out as the Terminator, and he's like, dun, 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 right? Takes off the sunglasses, and he's got the, like, red eyes. Yeah. You're like, oh, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's the Terminator. Yeah. And then he cuts his arm and shows you the robotic hand. You're like, yeah, he's the Terminator. Then he's like, I'm the Terminator. And you're like, we get it.
Yeah, he's
we get it. Oh. That's the only thing he could have done. Oh, by the way, like, just like turn the lightsaber off. The thing turns off. He comes back on. He's like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm Darth Maul. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, got that right the first time, every time. What else do I want to say about this film? I agree with you where, like, I also hate we're making this film to lead up to another film, and you feel like nothing actually really happened in this film.
Yeah.
Like a lot happened. Han meets Chewie. Han gets his start as a smuggler. Han's going to meet Jabba. Han's going to deal with Darth Maul, a Sith Lord.
Right.
Han has to deal with his love interest and eventually lose her. Because that's what's going to happen. And then he's going to give his engagement present of the dice to his new fiancée, Princess Leia, later on. Yeah. Somehow that's going to work in.
I didn't really get... Was that supposed to be, like, the last time that he's ever going to see her? Because he clearly never sees her again.
He does see her again.
Does he?
Of course. But he starts working for Jabba. He does a couple jobs. They go good. And then he has to deal with her and Darth Maul. That's what he has to deal with. And then at the end of it, he does a job for Jabba that goes bad, and now he's on the run. And they start the movie with him meeting Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then they go into an Obi-Wan movie.
They can't have him meet Darth Maul. Yeah. There's no way that Han Solo would meet Darth Maul and come out of that experience feeling like, oh, it's just a bunch of hokum. Like, the Jedi religion is, it's a big joke.
How are they going to deal with that when Darth Maul's floating rocks in the air?
Maybe he kills him with a blaster, and that's why it's like, I prefer a good blaster.
Oh,
so
like Darth Maul's
like lightsabers. Like, look how cool it is. I have 2 sad lightsabers.
Like in Raiders.
Yeah, and
where the guy pulls out the sword, and he's like, and then he just shoots the guy because everyone had diarrhea on the set.
Yeah.
They didn't want to go through a long sword fight.
That would be a great anticlimax. Just like the reveal of Darth Maul in Anticlimax.
I didn't mind the reveal of Darth Maul. I didn't think it was bad. I wasn't super excited about it, though. Like, I'm not... Yeah. I'm kind of looking forward to what they're going to do with it, but I'm not super looking forward to what they're going to do with it.
You know what I really liked? Mm-hmm. I really liked Paul Bettany in this movie.
Who's Paul Bettany?
Jarvis, Vision, the dude, the bad guy.
Oh, yeah!
We learned an important lesson about Paul Bettany this year. He starts out red, and when you kill him, he turns white. That's what happens to Paul Bettany when you kill him. But I really liked him. I thought he was a lot of fun. I thought he was like a really kind of almost charismatic villain. And yeah. I like my villains to be charismatic.
Well, yeah, he was a good villain. I kind of want to talk about... the two, and it's amazing that there's only 2 parts of the movie that I was like, I don't know why this makes sense.
Okay.
One was Daenerys is fighting Vision.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And she disarms Han Solo.
It's like fan fiction.
She disarms Han Solo. And then she kills Vision.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why disarm them? Just fight together.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I don't like it when movies do that. Like, you don't have to do that for the dramatic effect of like, what's she gonna do?
Yeah, I didn't care for that.
Because it's dumb. And then the second thing that I thought was dumb was like, the band of marauders turned out to be the good guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, in almost any way possible. And then I was like, okay, if you're going to have someone in charge, why is it this 12-year-old? Because she looked like she's like 12 to 15.
Yeah.
Rather than Willow. Because Willow looks like he's a 60-year-old dude.
Yeah, but she is.
And I'm like, why don't you have the oldest person there in charge?
Yeah.
Because what 60-year-old is going to listen to a 15-year-old?
That would have been kind of cool, for Warwick Davis to come out and be like, oh, this is my sergeant, and I'm the captain.
Yeah.
I'm the one in charge. And like, he's been in every Star Wars movie since Return.
Yeah, like it would have been cool if she does the reveal and you're like, it's just a kid, and these kid alien and just a hodgepodge of people are fighting, but Warwick Davis
is the general.
Yeah, is the general.
Yeah.
And you get like, oh, okay, that makes sense why this guy's not a fighter.
Yeah. It's also like, it's directed by Ron Howard.
Yeah.
Willow was directed by Ron Howard.
Then he can be like, they killed all the adults. They did this to all the adults. They didn't do it to me because they thought I was a child.
Oh,
there you go, idiots.
And it's like, that would have been great.
Yeah.
I would have liked that reveal.
Yeah, it would have been cool, and it's kind of a throwback to people who know who Willow is and what role he's played in the Star Wars films.
His name is Warwick Davis.
But maybe that's...
And he plays the very first Ewok that you see in Return of the Jedi.
He is Wicket.
He's Wicket, yeah. Mm-hmm. He was 11 when he played Wicket.
Yeah, he was 11. Amazing. Yeah. And then he played Willow.
Yeah. Yeah, great.
But I don't know. But that's just... I mean, that's not... I didn't think it was necessarily a writing problem that they had, like, these kids doing the thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was just kind of stupid. But whatever. Yeah. It just would have been better doing it where, like, have the 50-year-old in charge. Right. That makes more sense.
Right.
The person with more experience usually is the person in charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
didn't really care for the giant octopus monster in space.
That was weird.
That was
very
weird.
Star Trek-y.
Yeah, it was very Star Trek-y.
Yeah.
And he was being eaten by that gravity well for, like, ever. I don't know. I think that it almost would have been better if he wasn't even there. Like, they were stuck in a gravity well. And then,
Well, I mean,
just build tension instead of, like...
What I thought was going to happen was that they were going to go into the gravity well. Like, it was going to suck them in. They were going to go into it. And then it was going to shoot them out. Yeah. Where they wanted to be. And then they were going to go, oh.
Like, hey, we could do it in 12 parsecs.
That's why she mentioned the gravity well. Because we were supposed to go into it, not around it. Oh, like kind of like this. Yeah. They're just a bunch of bumbling idiots trying to figure it out. What else is there to even talk about with this film? I don't.
The head in the jar.
I don't. Yeah. I think that's. I do. There was parts in the film where I was like, like when Han Solo first meets the like head of his like ragtag on Corellia or whatever that planet is, and it's this weird worm monster that comes out. Yeah. And I was like, this feels very Star Wars to me.
Yeah, okay.
Like, it was just stupid and cheesy and weird. And I was like... And it was like, I felt that way. Like, the same way you feel when you first see Jabba the Hutt, where you're like, this is kind of weird. Yeah. But it feels very Star Wars. Yeah. And the same thing, like, there was this woman singing, and she's got this mask on her face. And I was like... This is really weird. And she's making these weird hand movements and kind of singing in this weird alien language. Yeah. And I'm like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And then it pans over, and her company singer doing the duet with her is this head in a jar, and it's this weird frumpy looking dude like from Dune, the like space time folders from Dune. It's this looking guy. And he's like, and I'm like, this is. I was laughing for like 5 minutes. Yeah. And I think I was supposed to laugh, but it felt very Star Wars, like when that stupid elephant's playing the flute. With his trunk. He's playing the flute with his trunk. That's Star Wars.
Just like the little like tube mouth girl singing. Yeah, that head in the jar scene, I couldn't tell if I was supposed to think it was funny or not. I couldn't tell if it was a joke or if they were like doing that seriously. But I was dying, and I was like, man, I hope they did that on purpose, because I'm cracking up.
Like, some of the humor.
Yeah, it's
either brilliant or outlandishly dumb. Like, if you intended for it to be funny, it's brilliantly funny. But if they didn't, it's almost you're almost like, wow, that was weird that they made that big of a mistake.
You know what? I really, really liked Woody Harrelson in this movie.
Yes.
I thought he was awesome. I thought he was really, really kind of cool. Usually these like badass characters are a little bit too cool for school. A little bit too Pierce Brosnan, James Bond, where they're just like running through and like, you know, like lasers are going by and their hair is perfectly coiffed. He looked like he knew what he was doing the whole time, which is rare for a character like that. But I didn't care for the reveal of like him being like the betrayer.
Yeah.
Because I saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah, I think kind of everyone did, and I think there was the only thing that they did with the reveal was they were like, is it Woody Harrelson or is it Lando? That's the only thing they did.
Yeah.
And then it turned, or, you know, is it Emilia Clarke? But you kind of find out it's not her. And then it's Woody Harrelson, and some people in the audience were like, oh, because I think they thought it was going to be Lando.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. Woody Harrelson felt more like Han Solo than Han Solo did in this film.
Yeah. And I do like how they handled the shot first thing. I thought for sure they were going to make some kind of remark, some kind of stupid joke about who shot first or shooting first or, you know, something stupid. And they do kind of reference it because Woody Harrelson's trying to like distract him and then he shoots him.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I like that they did that. I like how they handled that, where it's like, that's kind of, you know, I guess supposed to be the force, the impetus of like him turning into the person that he becomes in these later movies.
That's what's wrong with this film in that sense. Okay, so this guy looks like he's about the same age that Harrison Ford was, and these are their first roles playing Han Solo.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, this guy's as old as Han Solo was when we first met him. So we're going to meet Han Solo maybe like a couple months after this. That's a problem, because what this guy was acting like was like he was 18.
Yeah.
He was acting like he was a giddy go-getter.
Yeah, he was
naive.
Yeah, naive. That's the word.
Han Solo, and then you get to A New Hope, and Han Solo's kind of like hardened. He doesn't trust anybody. He thinks everybody stabs him in the back. He's like, the Force. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Get real, kid. He's that character. So it's like the guy who playing Han Solo maybe was too old for how young he was acting.
Yeah, I heard that the kid, the guy from Baby Driver, he was trying to audition for the part. He was trying to like be Han Solo.
He has the better look to him.
He looks like a young, naive Harrison Ford.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure how well he would have been able to pull off that kind of like smug Han Solo, you know, like everything's just going to work out.
Yeah.
And that's what I think this guy did a really good job of, is just having that kind of like, no, this is going to work. Like, you know, like that is very Han Solo. But that's kind of the only part that I felt like was the character, you know. Everything else was like, how do we turn this guy into Han Solo?
What is your suggestion for people who haven't seen this film or who have seen it and are going to go into watching this film so that it doesn't suck?
Oh.
Because people are going to go into this thing, they're going to have a certain expectation, and you're going to get disappointed and you're going to hate it. And it's not as bad as people are saying that it is. It's well directed, it's relatively well acted.
Yeah. Yeah.
if you've seen acting from any of these actors before, they're actually better in this film than they are almost anywhere else. Other than Woody Harrelson, obviously, he's always fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you know?
I guess, okay, I did have a complaint.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the movie was just going on and on and on. There were like maybe 2 moments where I felt like, okay, this is the end of the movie, and then it's like, oh wait, there's still more storyline that they're gonna. So I guess if you go into the movie not feeling like this is a movie about Han Solo,
yes,
and if you're prepared for what is going to feel like a longer journey than you would expect. Like, I was expecting it to be a very short film, a very short journey, because I know where Han Solo ends up. And so I was thinking, like, okay, this is a good stopping point for, like, you know, then he turns into A New Hope. So if you don't think of him like Han Solo, if you think of him like this is just, you know, a different character in the universe, I don't think that you would mind the story going on. And I don't think that you would mind, like, I think that you'd actually enjoy the movie.
Yeah, that's a perfect way of putting it. If you do not expect to see a Han Solo film, or if you expect to see a Han Solo film, but with a completely different Han Solo, you got a new actor, a new person maybe writing for him. Obviously, this is not the new person writing for him, but let's just say it's a new person writing for the character. You're not going to be disappointed with this film. Don't expect this film to end like it leads up to another film. If you expect to see a completed film, you're going to be disappointed. I think where most people are going to be pleased with this is how Han meets Chewie.
Yeah.
How their friendship grows. That was done very well.
Yeah.
You actually believe, like, okay, these guys are actually loyal to each other, and you can see why they become loyal to each other.
Yeah.
How he actually obtains the Falcon, how he meets Lando.
Yeah.
All these things, I don't think most people are going to be disappointed with. I think they were handled very well.
Right.
But if you're expecting to see Harrison Ford, you're not going to see Harrison Ford in this film.
Yeah, yeah. What he doesn't do is an impersonation. He does his own performance, and I thought he did a surprisingly good job, because there are talks about how they needed to fly in acting coaches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he did a good job.
Yes.
He doesn't do an impersonation of Harrison Ford.
Right.
Which was probably for the best.
And neither did the writers. The writers did not do an impersonation of Harrison Ford's Han Solo. They wrote a totally different Han Solo.
Yeah.
It's almost like a splintered universe, where you're getting alternate clone Han Solo, who kind of has his own properties.
Well, that was Solo, a Star Wars story. Thank you for joining me, Anthopants. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.